Hi, and welcome to Chit Chat with two T's, where we discuss the mental health actual factuals. I am your host, Counselling Psychologist jvaldez, and today with me, we have as a very special guest, my friend and fellow mental health professional colleague, Miss Britteney Cayenne. Welcome, Britteney. The crowd is going wild right now, silently, imaginarily. Welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you very much. It's been a while, but you got to see me today.
Yay!
You were the first person to see me when I got back.
Yay!
And you put up a whole thing about it, but yeah. Hi.
Hey, I'm so happy that you're here. When I said I wanted to do this, you were on my shortlist of people that I wanted to have on. So I'm so happy that you said yes, got over yourself, and decided to come. So thanks. So
you're welcome.
Before we get into the show, I have this, that's an icebreaker, my very own 7-second chain. So I'm going to show you the chain. The first word is bubblegum. And the last word is Margaret. And there are two letters in between, two P's. So you have to figure out what connects bubblegum to Margaret. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Go.
Bubblegum. Pink princess Margaret.
Okay. 3 out of 4. It's bubblegum pop princess Margaret.
I think no. So I actually think that was, just the warm up. So is there another one that I can do? Because stakes are high and I'm pretty competitive. So no.
You know what? I'll try to get more in the future. But it took me a while to come up with that one because I'm trying to do ones that link the two of us. So I know you always tell me you're not really too much into the pop. The bubblegum pop is more me. And of course, you are the Princess Margaret. Great.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
You're welcome. I mean, I love having royalty on my show. I don't know when next this will happen. So thank you, Princess, for being here.
You're welcome.
And besides being Princess Margaret, Britteney, could you, let us know a little bit about you and who you are?
Okay.
I know, but our viewers don't.
All right. So everyone, good day, good evening, good night. My name is Britteney Cayenne, but you can call me Britteney because I don't think that I even tell people that my name is Britteney. It's so formal, but then again, Princess Margaret, right? Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to do is tell everyone about myself, and I'm going to use it in labels because I feel like we use labels a lot. So the first thing I would say, I'm a millennial, although I look like a Gen Z.
Look at you.
I think I look like 16. Right, but I'm not. I'm a millennial. When I describe myself, I tend to say that I am a chameleon because I think that I can adjust to different spaces and different situations beautifully. And I also have the capacity to allow people to feel comfortable in their own spaces. So I would say that I'm a chameleon. Professionally, I am a forensic psychologist, and that is a huge word for just a social scientist that applies psychology in the context of the judicial system. But my specialization is law enforcement. So that means that I deal with agencies and members of law enforcement that would protect and serve us. But I don't mean police alone. Right. So estate police, which are private police, more or less, prisons, regiment, and prisons of private security firms.
Well, we're so happy. I'm so happy that you told us that because I know a lot of people aren't sure what a forensic psychologist is or does. So good job.
So I've had a lot of questions. One actually thought that I was a forensic pathologist. So they were like, oh, so you deal with dead bodies. Because they just hear forensic
Yes.
But the word forensic really means legal or law. So you have forensic accountants, forensic pathologists, forensic psychologists, forensic social workers. Once you place your professional expertise in the context of law, then it becomes forensic. So a little bit of education there.
I like it. Any other labels?
Not that I can think about right now. I'll get back to you.
You want to let the world know you're a cat mom? You don't want to let the world know you're a cat mom?
Well, so I have a cat. Her name is Katisha.
Shout out to Katisha.
But she's pretty much angry with me since I went on a little vacation for a month. Well, it was actually over a month. And let me rewind that. So I went on a vacation in September for a month, and she warmed back up to me, and then I felt like I traumatized her again. So that when I went back in December, well, a little over a month, when I came back, she doesn't deal with me. She gives me the side eye. So she fired me. So I don't think that
you were supposed to tell her you were leaving.
So what had happened was she was supposed to go to the vet the same day that I was supposed to leave the country, and she ran away. So I didn't get a chance to tell her goodbye. That's not my fault. At least I don't think so. So when I came back, up to this day, she is giving me side eye. So I think my mom is now the cat mom. I'm just a peasant in her
presence.
Yeah, pretty much. So.
All right. Well, thank you for telling us about you. And that brings us actually to our first segment, which is called What's in Your Cup, keeping with the whole tea analogy. And today's sponsor is actually House of Arendel, fine Trinitario chocolate cocoa products. So I actually have that in my cup, and it is delicious. It is very rich, and I'm very happy about this particular sponsor because this sponsor makes this episode a completely South Trinidad episode, because House of Arendel is actually located in deep South, probably about 12 minutes away from me in Otaheite. So I'm very happy to have this very delicious cocoa, and have them sponsoring the episode tonight. So, yeah.
Did you tell them Princess Margaret also got one?
Hey, Princess Margaret, because she's a princess. And you have to make sure you tell royalty thank you in appropriate ways. So we made sure that Britteney was also hooked up with her House of Arendel cup as well. So, Britteney, what's in your cup? What's going on with you?
All right, so I will be honest with you. I don't drink tea or cocoa or coffee unless I am really sick. So, and even when I'm sick, I just go to the straight extreme. So no milk, no sugar, plain tea bag, or if in this case it's shameless plug, it will just be hot water. I'll take your word for it because I trust you. What am I drinking? So I'm repping my set.
Woo! HFC.
Right. So I went to Holy Faith Convent Penal with JL. JL was actually my, what were you? House girl?
Head girl.
So I have water in my cup because I drink water 99.9% of the time. So that's in my cup. But you never know, it could probably be white soap. It could probably be vodka.
It could be anything you want, sis.
Any imagination. We learned that in Sesame
How come
Street.
you drink? We sure did. How come you drink so much water? I know people say you should, and anybody who knows me, they know I'm not a water fan. I just drink it because allegedly it helps you stay alive, something like that. But you seem to enjoy water.
So when I was younger, I used to drink water, and then just one day I woke up and I was like, hey, I need to do better. And since then, I've been doing that.
Hey.
That's just it. I do drink juice sometimes, but I've gotten so accustomed to water that it just literally tastes like sugar and water. Hey, she said, drink water and mind your business. I've been drinking water and minding my business. Long time.
Shout out to Patrice for making the anthem of 2022 and moving forward.
Yep.
So, okay, and what is happening with you otherwise? We know you have water in your cup. You have an amazing mug from an amazing alumni association. But what's going on with you? What's happening?
So we live in a time warp of a pandemic. So figuratively, what's in my cup? I really can't tell you. The best way to describe it is probably right now trying to disassociate what has now become blended. Homework.
No boundaries.
And which has been hard because like in 2021 I realized that I wonder if I should do this now. Besides my private practice, I do see clients who are asylum seekers and refugees.
Oh wow.
And they have been exposed to sexual and gender-based violence. So it's very heavy. My sessions are very heavy. And what I noticed within myself, because we're working remotely, my environment now became heavy because this is the space that I am taking up listening to other people's challenges. And what I realized about myself is that I would insulate myself at the ending of my workday in a dark room. And it was getting too much. And then I was like, why am I doing this? Because at first I thought it was self-care.
Right.
But then too much of something becomes a problem. So when I realized like I was literally fantasizing about finishing work and then doing this for the rest of the day, then I was like, okay, something is wrong. But it's just the time warp of the pandemic. And then in Trinidad for a long time, we were trapped indoors, so there wasn't any socialization. So I've now gotten adjusted to I wouldn't do it in Trinidad, but in September I went to some Labor Day parties and it was like so surreal. Oh my gosh, I'm getting myself again, free up yourself, but then come back to Trinidad and then so that's basically what's in my cup right now, trying to find back that balance and trying to get out of that time warp that is a pandemic.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Britteney, because it is real. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like we went from not being sure what day it is, because all the days just blended one into the other. And sometimes that still happens for us, to having to manage living with existing and being safe. And I think you just described that so perfectly, going abroad and there being a particular level of freedom or even levity, in terms of you being able to just kind of enjoy yourself almost like it used to be. And then coming back home and recognizing, okay, so this is not how it used to be. It's still how it is here in real life, which is heavy. And I think for a lot of us working from home, that those blurring of boundaries has also occurred. And I'm glad that you're self-aware enough to recognize it, and to actually maybe think about doing something about it. Because some of us, we're like, yeah, this probably isn't great, but I'm still gonna have another bottle of wine. I'm still gonna do that. So, or whatever unhealthy thing it is or good thing that we're abusing. So Britteney, thanks for sharing so much in terms of, what's in your cup and what's happening with you. And I think so many of us could relate. And then in addition to the whole covering, I guess, of being in a pandemic, what is boiling your water? What is making your kettle whistle? What is your pet peeve? What is upsetting you? Segment also sponsored by House of Arendel, fine Trinitario cocoa products. So yeah, what's going on? What's happening? Who's upsetting you?
Besides the fact that I haven't won the lotto yet?
Yeah, that upsets me every day.
like I feel like, and I know we're supposed to be kind of serious here, but let me just make it a little light. I've been talking to God probably every day, telling him, you know, if it is a win Wednesday or Saturday's draw, these are the things that I would do with it. And I think that you will be well pleased, your child.
Agreed.
And he is not listening to me.
And you are in a slightly worse position than me, or better, because you actually play. I want to win and I haven't played. So, yeah.
Well, how you could expect to?
I think miracles happen every day, Britney.
No, but the Bible also said faith without works is
dead. You caught
dead.
me. You caught me. You better quote that Bible for me.
Yeah. But on a serious tip, what has been boiling my water? So it's two things, and the letter of the day is E, I guess.
Okay.
All right. Which one do I touch on first? Well, again, I would have stated that I do work with a very, very vulnerable population, asylum seekers and refugees. Most of them are Venezuelans, and the level of exploitation that I see.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And it comes from places that you should not expect it. So you see it with some members of the law enforcement. You see it with landlords. You see it with persons presenting themselves as saviors.
Yeah.
Let's just say perhaps in the religious context. And you see it with employers as well. And it's sad because they don't necessarily want to be here.
Right.
And they're coming into a space, the language barrier, the cultural barrier, the socioeconomic barrier, and yet still we take more advantage of them. That's not kind. And I remember when my mom was younger, there was a point in time when Trinidadians flocked to Venezuela.
Right.
And they weren't treated like that.
Yeah.
So why are we treating this vulnerable population like that? What boils my water besides that is the external locus of control that Trinidadians have.
Oh, you better bring your psychological terms in here. External locus of control.
In other words, what it is we're talking about is the lack of personal accountability. The fact that we think that every event or outcome is due to external forces and we're not taking personal responsibility. So every rainy season when Port of Spain floods and it have a whole set of garbage
causing the flooding.
Oh, the government ain't doing nothing. I hope I can say that.
You can.
It's a safe space, right?
Because it doesn't matter which party is in power.
Right.
That is always the cry. The government not doing anything. Yeah.
And the loudest ones are the ones that fling in the KFC boxes outside.
Out the window.
Don't care. Or fling in the, I don't want to call any brand name, but I did with KFC. So
it's okay. We like KFC as Trinidadians.
Right. Or any sort of beer bottle, anything. Vikey just throwing it out.
Yeah.
Or only wicked. We know that line, right?
Only too wicked.
Only too wicked. When the police come to the scene of a crime, and there's some sort of discord. But why is the discord happening in the first place? Yeah. It's usually because at some point in time, that particular village is seeing a set of individuals that are growing up with antisocial behaviors or some sort of deviance, and they're not doing anything about it. They're turning a blind eye to it. So where's the personal responsibility? Yeah. And you see, I'm talking about that, and you can hear the passion in my voice.
I can.
Yeah.
That's true. So that's mind your business.
But I can't. Right. So
yes, and that's the thing. I think where's that line, right, between getting involved and also self-preservation?
Right.
Yeah.
And then self-preservation to the sense of there are a lot of persons who would see crime and would turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah.
But it's twofold, because in one instance, not my circus, not my monkeys, they're not my business. But on the other spectrum, it's a matter of, so if it is I do report the crime, what is going to happen next.
to
Would it
me.
take it serious, or what would happen
Yeah.
to me? So we've reached a stage of, I guess, moral and social erosion, and it really grinds my gears. And what's saddening is that sometimes I will have these conversations with pockets of people, and some would appreciate what it is I say.
Yeah.
Some will just, not my circus, not my monkeys. And then some will be like, well, why does you don't become a politician? I can't become a politician.
Yeah. The type of work that we do.
Yeah. So that's what grinds my gears. And that's what boils my water. I'm pretty sure it's enough to fill. Shameless plug.
Well, you know, Britteney, and one of the reasons why we have this segment is because part of good mental health is being able to talk about the things that upset you and relieve that level of stress, right? Because when you keep it inside, you know, it can eat you up, you know, literally and figuratively. It can, you know, cause ulcers. It can cause high blood pressure, all of these things. So it's important to talk about it. And I'm glad that you felt comfortable enough to talk about it. You are one of few people that I know personally who actually have first-hand experience with the migrant population. You know, so I'm actually happy that you were able to shed some light on that, because a lot of us, we just know what we see. And I think for some reason, a lot of Trinidadians are threatened by their presence. I'm not sure if it is because we are in a very uncertain time. So we figure if there are more people to have to share resources, it's going to put a strain on us. I don't know if it's because some of us, it's in one of our previous episodes, we were speaking with Dr. Gina Noel Romilly, and we were talking about colorism. You know, so I don't know if for a lot of the women, especially if that's an issue, you know, these Venezuelans here and they're taking all the men. Because the men were just there on a shelf to be taken.
Right.
You know, or they feel they won't get the opportunity because Venezuelan women are seen as exotic and sexy and, you know, beautiful and all of that. So it's so layered, you know, the situation. And I think most people, I think the majority of people in Trinidad and Tobago will not be in a situation where they can actually speak and have an actual fulfilling conversation to find out about Venezuelans or why they're here, or to take that into consideration. It's just surface.
Yeah. Do you want me to shed some light on it? Or? Okay. So what I'm going to start with is the difference between asylum seeker and refugees. So it's like all rectangles are a square, but a square is not a rectangle.
Right.
So a refugee is an asylum seeker in a sense, but an asylum seeker is not a refugee. So asylum seeker is someone who would have come to another port of entry, a country, a political or administrative boundary, stating that they have a fear of staying within their country because of some sort of prosecution. So whether it be judicial, through their gender, sexual orientation. What makes an asylum seeker recognized as a refugee is when there's a well-founded fear. So after they would have registered with the particular agency, let's just say United Nations High Commissioner of Refugees, UNHCR, and or there are some countries in the world that does the work of UNHCR. So they would go and do the investigation. So once there's a well-founded fear that what they're saying is true, then they can be categorized as a refugee.
Okay.
That being said, we all know about the economic turmoil that Venezuela is experiencing. And by right, some of them have been persecuted because of, I said prosecuted before, persecuted. Yeah, it happens.
This is real.
Right, it's real. Because of their political affiliation, and some of them are just economic migrants, just moving to a new space for betterment of their situation.
Right.
what happens is that, well, especially in the context of Trinidad and Tobago, that language barrier is one. And then they're coming into a space of, we already have depleted resources within Trinidad and Tobago because we already have our economic challenges. And I think what happens is that the persons who are here and they are ignorant, and I mean ignorant in the truest sense of the word.
Yeah, like
they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They, again, external locus of control.
Mm-hmm.
They shift the blame.
Mm-hmm.
So I, for one, when I say me, I don't mean me in particular. Hypothetically, I want a good job, or I want a job in particular, but I don't really want to do what it takes to get the job.
Right.
Another person, let's just say an asylum seeker or a refugee, comes in and does the job. What happens? There's this sort of discrimination. They come in to take our jobs, right. But you weren't doing it in the first place.
That was too low for you.
That was too low for you. And then there is, well, we know that we live in a patriarchal society, and sex sells. And what happens to a lot of these women, they are tricked.
Right.
So they jump on the boat and they're told, okay, there's a job for you. When they reach here, the job that they think that they were going to get, it's not that.
Right.
So it's actually sexual exploitation. And even if they get jobs that are legal, so let's just say they're a domestic worker, in some spaces, some men would actually try to find favor with them or
opposition them,
sexual favors, or even withhold their pay for their honest job until they give them sex. Wow. So it's a lot of things, and I don't think if we put ourselves in that position, if it is we say we want to go to another country just for socioeconomic means or whatever, we wouldn't want that to happen to us. Yeah. So why do it to someone else?
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of food for thought, and no wonder that gets you upset, because it is upsetting. We know so many friends, family members who would have gone abroad to England or to the States. Unfortunately, at least to our knowledge, most of them have not had to encounter that. Mm-hmm. Yes, you would find jobs that they probably wouldn't do if they were here, right? But they do it because they want to, make the money, whether it's to send home or they see it as a stepping stone to a better life. But most of them don't have to deal with that. So I'm really not sure what are the conditions that make it right for it happening here, but I can definitely understand your frustration and your anger with it, because you also get to know them on a very intimate level in terms of them divulging things to you. So, I mean, I can't even begin to imagine. And I know you're glossing over it because obviously you can't go more into detail or whatever, but I can't even begin to imagine.
And as psychologists, we offer a safe space, and this space is this word space has now become a cliche term, but a safe environment, an environment in which you feel comfortable to share your story, narrate your story. And what happens at times, some of my clients would want to say things, but it's a generalized comments about Trinidadians. Yeah. And either they say it and then become apologetic because here I am, someone is sharing space with me, but is also a Trinidadian. Yeah. So it's this level of hesitation and or I'm sorry, I say that. Yeah. And it's hard.
Yeah, because it would impact, their ability to freely express themselves. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No wonder you are coming home, or I should say, because you're working from home, closing your laptop, going to your bedroom, and wanting to draw those curtains because, I mean, as you say, it's heavy. It's heavy.
And I don't like to pathologize people, but majority of my cases are post-traumatic stress disorder, adjustment disorder, anxiety disorders, And it's literally disorders, so it's heavy.
Yeah, because you have to manage those things, right?
Mhm.
And they're there for help, and they're for want of a better term, unburdening on you.
Mhm.
Yep. So then you don't have to carry that weight. So that's actually a good segue into our third segment, which is about your mental health. How do you deal with this? How do you deal with all of this?
So in this year of our Lord 2022, I decided that I need to practice what I preach.
Okay.
Before I say that, let me give some clarification. So in my private practice, because I don't think that I would have made the distinction, my private practice, I deal with nationals only. So members of law enforcement and civilians. The depth of work that I do with asylum seekers and refugees is with a NGO that is contracted to provide psychosocial support for refugees and asylum seekers, right? So now that I've cleared that, how do I manage? I have to practice what I preach because I have been a preacher of self-care.
Yes.
And you ask your clients, okay, so how do you navigate in this space? How do you cope? How do you manage, whether it be good or bad? Let's talk about constructive ways, self-care. And I wasn't doing it. What I thought I was doing, which was staying at the ending of my sessions, staying in a dark room, insulating myself, doing it over and over and over. It became addictive, as you would have said, or we abused it. And then I realized, hey, there needs to be more. So I started to debrief.
You were numbing.
And what I realized that I was actually doing as well was mindlessly scrolling on social media. So it was like I was self-soothing, right? So I realized that I needed to start to debrief more. And that's where you came in. Oh, I know, right? So peer support is a big thing. I also do regular clinical supervisions. What else do I do? I take vacations because the borders have reopened.
Hello.
What else do I do? I think that's basically it. And what I do is like small doses of mindful self-awareness, because why does I say mindful self-awareness? Sometimes we would do something and then spontaneously be like, hey, why did I do that? And then probably find the answer. But I am now intentionally, and we have that, remember that intentional word?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
It's our word.
Yeah, people, you can't get in between that. Right? It's an inside joke. Don't try to get in between it. But being intentional with self-introspection, or being aware of why did I do that, and trying to basically deconstruct it. Yeah. Right. So that's what it is I've been doing to manage, and it seems to be going well in the year of Lord 2022.
Amen. Well, that is good. And I think a lot of us, some of us say, okay, I know what the issue is, I know what my problem is, but then we're not doing anything about it. So I'm so happy that you brought that up, that mindful self-awareness. I've never actually heard the two terms together, and I like it. Because that's what we need to do. We actually need to be present, because sometimes we're self-aware and it's easy to just kind of brush it aside or ignore it. Right. So I like the mindfulness aspect of it. Be present with it, acknowledge it, and then do something about it. So that's good. That's really good. That's a lot to manage. And then you said you have private practice and you're working with an NGO. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about your private practice.
Okay. So shameless plug.
Ooh, like you be sure on, girl. Yes.
All right. So the name of my practice is Cayenne Forensic Psychological Consultancy. It is a registered business. I registered it in 2019. So what? We're in year 3. I'm not good at math. So
Look at sister here, you know this.
Not good in math. So I provide psychological services for members of law enforcement as well as civilians. So anybody in particular. Most of my clients are persons who come for psychological evaluations for firearm users license or firearm users employee certificate. The FUEC is usually for persons who are precepted through estate police pockets. So anytime when it says we worked at Petrotrin would have been they had their own police,
right?
TNTech has their own police, things like that. Not saying that those are clients. I'm just giving you an example.
Examples.
It's
but
just
if
examples
you want
of
to find her, yeah.
Just giving you education on the difference between government police, TTPS, as well as we have something called estate police. Also, I deal with civilians who too have some level of abuse, which may be through familial abuse, domestic in terms of emotional, financial, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't even realize, that there's something called financial abuse. But I think you might
it's
have
very
to
real.
Bring me on next time.
Hello,
so
friends of Chit Chat with 2 T's. Once you're on forever. You can always come back.
Physical abuse. What I had to do, which I didn't mention in terms of managing, I had to take a little hiatus between October to December because it was getting a little too much, and self-care is really need. You can't give to others what it is you don't have of yourself. Can't pour
from an empty cup, right?
Right, can't pour from an empty cup, and I probably need to refill with water because I'm talking a lot. So I took some space clinically. But administratively, I would have been doing work with insurance providers. And I think it's necessary that I say this here because this is a big step for psychology. Once upon a time, persons could not have claimed for psychological sessions or psychosocial sessions. And if it is they get mental health intervention, it would only be recognized by a psychiatrist who's a medical doctor that specializes in mental health. So the fact that now they are welcoming psychologists into their provider network, that's a big step. So that is basically what it is I do. I forgot to mention at the beginning, I'm also an adult volunteer / trainer with the Children's Court for their peer resolution program. That's something that I've been a part of since I think 2016.
Wow.
And it's something that I'm very passionate about because it helps me sync 2 passions. I have a passion for youth, as well as I'm passionate about the judicial system. I actually wanted to be a lawyer, but
never too late.
I will stick with forensic psychology.
Just saying, never too late.
Yeah. So that's basically what my business is about. I'm really happy that we are millennials and we are entrepreneurs.
Hello.
And we have private practices. Yeah.
Woo! So how can we find you? Speaking of these private practices, how can we find you if we wanted to contact you?
So my social media handles, Cayenne Friends, Cayenne Foren, foren.psych.tt. That's on Instagram, on Facebook. Now, I was locked out of my Facebook account.
Boo!
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. Because I'm a millennial, I am open to WhatsApp. So you can either call, text, or WhatsApp 868-491-7636. And my email is foren, foren.psych.tt. And for our viewers, just message JL and she can pass on the information to
The
me.
information will be in the description of the episode below, so don't you worry. And yeah, so we always like to make sure that we have the information for any mental health professionals we may have on the episodes, because people are looking, people do need it, and people need to know, they need to be aware of what we have offered here in Trinidad and Tobago. So that's one of the reasons why, we definitely make sure we have your information so that you guys can reach out to her if you need her. You can find her. The information will always be in the description. So even if you're on the road, you're listening via SoundCloud or even via YouTube, and you can't stop to write down what she's saying, when you get a chance, you can always go to the YouTube channel, and below the episode, you'll see the description of all her information, right? And we actually have giveaways. So my chit chatters, I'm not sure if I'll stay with that, but that's what I'm calling it for now. Once again, thanks to House of Arendel chocolate, we have some beautiful packs of cocoa, right? Drinking cocoa for you cocoa lovers. This is what I'm drinking tonight, what is in my cup. And House of Arendel graciously gave us some for giveaways. So you have to like my page on Instagram, my Instagram profile at Equilibre_TT, right? So that is my my private practice handle on Instagram. And you also have to like and follow House of Arendel, which is at House of Arendel Chocolate, and Arendel is ARENDEL, right? And you can also visit them on their website, www.arendel.com. But for the purposes of the giveaway, you have to like Equilibre_TT, like at House of Arendel Chocolate, and you have to tag someone, right? And we will give you the information as to when the winner will be selected, but we don't stick. So I want to say probably within a day or two of this airing, right? So as soon as you watch this, when it drops, you have to go and make sure that you like and share. So you could win 2 packs, maybe more if we feel more generous, of this Arendel drinking cocoa. But more importantly, because we love you all so much and you all have shown us such support, we want to give as many people as possible the opportunity. So we will have several people being selected, at least 5, it could be more, winning some drinking cocoa, right? So we all love free stuff, and we're so grateful to House of Arendel for sponsoring this episode and giving me this delicious cocoa to drink and that beautiful mug. And thank you, House of Arendel, for also gifting our host as well. She's very appreciative. She loves the green in the cup. So it's beautiful, right? Yes, look at that, just pop it. I love it.
I feel like mono white.
You just need to touch the tiles now. If only I could get paid for just turning some tiles. Listen, I wouldn't be a psychologist. Anywho's. So again, we just want to thank you all for spending some time with us, Britteney. It was a pleasure having you here and for you to shed that light on what you're doing professionally and personally. And I hope you continue to be self-aware and to make sure you carve out that time for yourself, but also continuing to recognize when the withdrawal and the isolation may be a little bit too much. And thanks for being so honest about that. I know a lot of people are dealing with that, and I think just hearing somebody say it, especially our age, say it's like, oh, okay, so it's not me alone that feels this way. And I know we're all struggling in the middle of this whole push-pop, this whole panoramic. I hate saying pandemic.
Platypus.
Yeah, just any random P word, just gonna do that. So I it's nice to know, I guess, that we're not struggling by ourselves, but that other people could relate to this this very strange part of the human experience. So again, thank you for being with us. I hope that you had a good time.
I did. It was actually short. Can probably up it for a little 2 hours, next time.
Oh.
I kid.
Well, I mean, next time if you probably really do put some white oak in that cup, it might really be going on for a while, right? But I had such a wonderful time having you here and just learning so much about what you're dealing with, and I think given me a new perspective on especially the migrant situation. Hopefully you would have done the same for more of our citizens. So we'll see how that goes. And I don't know if we can change them having an external locus of control, but we do our part, and hopefully by us doing our part, we can help others to do theirs. And take responsibility and be accountable. And I think part of that means we can't be afraid in certain situations to also let people know, hey, you can do better. Easier said than done. I mean, come on, easier said than done. But I think that's one of the things that is lacking right now, where we seem to be afraid to kind of tell people, hey, because it's such a sensitive time. Everybody's like walking on eggshells, and I can't stress enough that we all just need to be kind. Just be kind to each other. But being kind doesn't mean you can't tell somebody, hey, you need to pull up your socks, because it really not wicked. So I think a lot of it is not necessarily what we do, but how we do it. So thanks for bringing that to the fore again as well. Thank you. Can't say enough thanks to House of Arendel Chocolate, and we're looking forward to having you again. I love this cocoa. I think I might be having some more tonight. I probably should be, but I will, because you only live once, right? YOLO. So thanks again for spending time with us, Britteney. We look forward to seeing you again.
Can I say one thing?
Of course.
I was just being polite. I was just gonna say it anyway.
Oh.
Thank you, JL, for and I'm serious now. Thank you very much for this, and I'm using the cliche term again, space.
Yeah.
Because you are basically championing the cause of mental health, and you are normalizing it in a casual way.
Yeah.
Making people understand that we are psychologists too, are human too. So we understand the human experience. So feel comfortable coming to us, talking with us, because we share some of the challenges that you have too. So thank you for this space, and may it continue to prosper.
You're welcome, and thank you. I received that 100-fold, because this is my purpose. This I jokingly have shared with some people. I really didn't understand what a passion project was until we began this podcast, because I really do want to normalize mental health, and I do want to continue to raise mental health awareness. So I'm hoping that in this forum, people can, even if it's just one small thing that people pick up during the entire thing and they're able to go with, and hopefully plant it in their lives and share it with someone else. I'm happy about that. So thanks for being part of the revolution. Also, Arendel Chocolate, thank you again for being with us this evening, and to all our viewers and listeners, thank you for having some tea with us here on Chit Chat with 2 T's, where we discuss the mental health actual factuals. And we'll be here again next time. So look out. Make sure and like and follow so you could win some cocoa as well. And we'll see you next time. Take care and stay safe. And see.